Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we are continuing our deep dive into the rotation by having a look at the cards we're losing from Guardians Rising. And ladies and gentlemen, Guardians Rising, I am willing to say, one of the best expansions we've ever had in the Pokemon trading card game. It is right up there with Stormfront in terms of had a redonkulous impact on the metagame. Most decks out there, regardless of what they are, have 8 to 10 Guardians Rising cards in them, even if the main Pokemon are not from the set. That's how good it is. So we'll start off with our big losses, then we'll have a look at you used to be cool, you had so much potential, and finish with the trainers. So in terms of big losses, we're losing Victini. For a long time, anytime there's been a flippy attack, I've said use Victini, you can reflip. It was played in a whole bunch of flippy decks. Not anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we're losing Alolan Ninetales, and that's a little bit sad. We'll get there with you used to be cool. But way more importantly, we're losing Alolan Vulpix. Alolan Vulpix is nuts. 0 energy, search for any 2 Pokemon, put them into your hand. And, of course, because it was 0 energy, you could search it out and use your energy attachment for the turn to retreat whatever was in the active. When combined with the newer Alolan Ninetales to search out rare candy, it was basically your guaranteed way to get double stage 2 out on turn 2. It's gone. We're losing Tapu Koko. It was never a phenomenal card, but it's a great one-of in pretty much every Lightning deck, because you put it on the field, move the energy over, and it's got a big GX attack or an alright main attack. We are losing Lycanroc. Lycanroc's big, ladies and gentlemen. It's great with Zoroark, it's great with Buzzwole, though ironically they're both rotating out as well, and it's gusting. It brings a Pokemon into the active. Bearing in mind it wasn't your supporter for the turn, and we're losing Guzma as well, a lot of decks are going to be missing this. We are missing Sylveon, one of the best disruptive decks we've had. 1 energy, search for up to 3 cards and put them in your hand, and we had the Energy Evolution Eevee to get it out turn 1, which is also rotating, and it was just a wonderful disruption card that will be missed. But the Pokemon we're missing more than any others, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tapu Lele. This is slightly tempered by the fact we are getting Dedenne, which is a decent GX that helps you set up on turn 1. But make no mistake about it, I commentate a lot of Pokemon games, and the amount of games that were won by a Tapu Lele for a Guzma, or indeed an Ultra Ball for a Tapu Lele for a Guzma, quite ridiculous. Now, in terms of you used to be cool, we've got some Pokemon that were good, but have really dropped off the radar. And none was better or took a harder fall than Garbodor. 20 damage for each item card in your discard pile. Right after this was released, we had a regional in Seattle, and it was 75% of top 32, and then 75% of top 8. It was crazy! And it had a great run with a whole bunch of different partners, and then it just dropped off the map, and it's just... I kept expecting it to come back, and it never did. Turtonator was a great fire Pokemon. It hit for pretty good damage, and it could accelerate energy with the GX attack. Great with Blacksmith, great with Kiawe. And for some reason, fire decks just could not compete. They weren't fast enough, they couldn't stand up, and as soon as that happened, Turtonator went away and didn't really come back. We're losing Alolan Ninetales GX. There was a small window of time where it was a really good Pokemon. It won the World Championships in the senior division, and it had a GX attack whereby if you didn't KO it, they could move all the damage counters back onto you. We're losing Wishiwashi GX, which was never as good as it should have been, even with the great little baby Wishiwashi Haynek from Dragon Majesty. It should have been good. I was so hyped for that card. Never worked as well as it should, but it was for a while a good blocking Pokemon. We are losing all the Oricorio. That is the fire one, which helped get your basics out. That was quite nice. The Sensu Oricorio, which was really good against Night March. And the Power Oricorio that was good for searching out energy. They all saw play in their time. They're all going. We're losing Delmise. I adore this Delmise. Lets all of your metal Pokemon do an extra 10 damage. Beautifully themed. After the Steelworker ability in the video game. But never really lived up to the hype I thought it should have done. We are kind of losing the Copycat Mimikyu, Was played in a whole bunch of decks, Metagross for instance, and Malamar. It was quite popular, it can copy attacks. But we're not really losing it because we got an alternate type reprint, we got a fairy version of it in Team Up. So it's kind of staying around. We're losing Machoke. Stops attacks and abilities hitting your bench Pokemon. I was a huge fan of this in Vespiquen, but it got played in a bunch of decks. We're losing Sudowoodo. Restricts your opponent to 4 bench spaces. Admittedly, way better when Skyfield was legal and you could have 8 bench Pokemon, but it was always fun to drop it against Zoroark and kind of laugh in their face. Although, as always, be nice. It's hard to be nice when laughing in their face, but try. Metagross GX. For a long time, Metagross GX was a really good deck. It absolutely annihilated Gardevoir, and it was a really good deck because you could accelerate energy and then retreat and max potion, and frankly, the format moved on and it hit for 150 and it wasn't enough. It was as simple as that. We moved to a point where it didn't hit enough damage, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was the end of Metagross. And we're losing Drampa. Now, Drampa was really good alongside the aforementioned Garbodor. Now, the weakness to fighting was a huge issue when everyone started countering Zoroark, but it could hit 150 for free energy. It could give you a new hand of 10 cards. It could discard your opponent's special energy. It was fun. Now, there were a few cards in this set that had potential, but never really lived up to it. Trevenant has Poltergeist. It does 30 damage for each trainer card in your opponent's hand, and it was for a double colorless energy. It looked so good. We even had it for a while in a format where we had Vileplume and Forest of Giant Plants to get the turn 1 item lock, and it just never proved to be good. We're losing Salazzle. Salazzle really, as it should be said. The ability, automatic burn, automatic poison. It's kind of cool. And it did see a bit of play in some special condition decks, but it was a fringe play, if anything. We are losing Absol. Really nice for Doom News. You KO'd the Pokemon at the end of their next turn. Now, there were so many decks that could get around this, especially with Guzma running around everywhere, but it was still fun when it worked. We're losing Blissey, which has seen play and success, especially over in Japan. It does 160 damage, and you can heal it up. So it does 80 to itself, but then you heal it. In a deck like Malamar, for instance, it's a non-GX that hits 160. That's good. And we're losing Rayquaza. A lot of people went, right, double colorless energy, 30 damage, attached to basic energy. This is how I'm going to accelerate energy and win. A lot of people thought it did not work out. And we're losing Vikavolt GX. Now, this still has a chance, because in Unbroken Bonds, we're going to be getting the new Charger Bug, which you can attach from your hand to a Vikavolt or Vikavolt GX, and it acts as a double lightning energy, but it's still a Pokemon, so you can search it out with Ultra Ball, recover it with Rescue Stretcher, etc. I think Vikavolt's got a little bit of life left before the rotation. Now, in terms of trainers, this is where, outside of Tapu Lele, Guardians Rising really made its money. Now, we're losing Ether Paradise Conservation Area, good for stopping damage to basic lightning and grass Pokemon, but your opponent could just remove it before they attacked. Fringe play, nothing more. We're losing Altar of the Moon, which helped retreat cost for Psychic Pokemon and Darkness Pokemon. And we're losing Altar of the Sun, which should have been amazing, because it took away the weakness of your fire and metal Pokemon. But the reality is your opponent could just remove it with like a field blower and then KO you anyway. So much potential. We're losing Aqua Patch, which was great at accelerating energy for water Pokemon. And I know they've got the combination of Naganadel and Quagsire, but even decks that played that still played Aqua Patch. This will be missed. We're losing Brooklet Hill to search out those basic fighting and water Pokemon. This was like a staple in fighting and water decks. This is a really big loss. And they're losing Aqua Patch as well. So, you know, moment of silence. We're losing Choice Band. Choice Band's played in like every deck. Does 30 more to the active EX or GX. It's ridiculous. We're losing Energy Lotto, which is the best way to go ahead and search that special energy. Okay, you can only look at the top 7 cards of your deck, but still, it was the best we had. We're not losing Energy Recycler because it was reprinted as a secret rare in Forbidden Light. We are losing Enhanced Hammer with the double blow that we're also losing Kartana GX. We are getting a new Mewtwo, which can discard a special energy from your opponent's active. But it's not exactly the best consolation here, ladies and gentlemen. We're losing Field Blower. Field Blower's in every deck. Gets rid of tools and stadiums. It's in every deck. It's going away. The best thing we're going to have is Faber, and good news pops it into the Lost Zone. Yay! Bad news, it's a supporter. You can't just start replacing item cards with supporters, because supporters are once per turn. It ain't good enough, ladies and gentlemen. We are losing Hala. It wasn't Hala good. No one's really going to miss it. Decent draw power in decks that use their GX attacks early, I suppose. We're losing Mallow that put any 2 cards on top of your deck. Honestly, the best use for this was Zoroark. But we've got a new Chandelure coming, which discards the top 5 cards of your deck, and any of the cards you discard that are fire Pokemon go straight onto your bench, even if they're a stage 2, and each Pokemon you discard does an extra 60 damage. Chandelure is going to really miss Mallow, and as a Chandelure player, I'm going to really miss Mallow. We're losing Max Potion, which is going to suck for blocking decks because we're also missing Ace Roller. So all of these you can't KO me and then I'm going to heal decks, they are much worse post-rotation. We're losing Multi-Switch. And to be fair, there were a whole bunch of Zoroark decks that would use Multi-Switch to switch a double colorless energy onto a Tapu Lele to take big KOs. It was a fairly popular tech in Zoroark decks to take KOs that your opponent thought you couldn't. And then we're losing Rescue Stretcher. It's the best way to recover Pokemon, and it's a 1 or 2 of in every deck in the format. And Brock's Grit is not a great substitute because once again, you can't just start replacing all of your items with supporters. Of all the sets that are being rotated, this is going to leave the biggest crater. Staples like Choice Band and Rescue Stretcher and Field Blower just are not going to be well replicated post-rotation, and that's before we start looking at stuff like Tapu Lele. And that's before we start looking at stuff like Lycanroc. And entire decks like Sylveon. This is going to have a gigantic impact. So ladies and gentlemen, mourn with me in the comment section. Tell me which of these cards you are going to miss the most. Go nuts. But please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.